What up, everybody? Welcome back to Jayfabe Wrestling. And now we are in the SummerSlam season, as you all know, and we are rebooking all the SummerSlams. This time we're looking at SummerSlam 2005. It took place on August 21st, 2005 in Washington, D.C. Let's run down the card for you guys right now. So we got, for the United States Championship, Chris Benoit defeating Orlando Jordan. Edge defeated Matt Hardy by technical knockout. Rey Mysterio defeated Eddie Guerrero in the ladder match for custody of Dominik. Kurt Angle defeated Eugene to regain his Olympic gold medals. Randy Orton defeated The Undertaker. John Cena defeated Chris Jericho to retain his WWE Championship. Batista defeated JBL to retain his World Heavyweight Championship in a no-holds-barred match. And in the main event, Legend versus Icon, Hulk Hogan defeated Shawn Michaels. So yeah, guys, honestly, this was one of the better SummerSlams. It was really hyped. Just going through the card, there's a lot of memorable things. Obviously, we have Chris Benoit defeating Orlando Jordan in 28 seconds. We have the return of Matt Hardy after he got released, and then it was revealed that Lita had an affair with Edge, so there was a lot of hype around that. We have the very memorable Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio feud over Dominik, and especially now to see how far Dominik has come. This is a very, revered match. And then we got Kurt Angle. Yeah, he was very over as a face here, even though he was a heel, defeating Eugene. Got the rematch from WrestleMania. Bob Orton helped Randy get the win. Cena Jericho was cool, especially because Cena got drafted to Raw, so that was a lot of hype around that. He's the new face of Raw. But then this was also the time where the fans started to cheer against John Cena. There's a lot of Chris Jericho fans. There wasn't really a lot of boos yet, but yeah, it started to come, so that was also very notable on this show. Batista was in his hometown, and then of course, we have, Shawn Michaels, Hogan. The feud there was amazing. We have Shawn, Sweet Chin Music's Hulk Hogan after a 6-man tag match, I believe, or a tag match. And then, just Shawn Michaels on Larry King mocking Hogan. Him faking out the crowd with Bret Hart's music and then Hulk Hogan's music afterwards. So, yeah, the hype and the build going into the show was very memorable. This was one of my favorite times as a kid. I was like in grade 5, and yeah, I just loved WWE. I remember I had to sleep early, so I couldn't even stay up to watch Raw. But man, it was so cool just to see, the changes. Obviously, the draft was one of the most exciting times of the year. So yeah, this is very exciting stuff. And yeah, the show overall is really good. There's a few things I would like to improve on. I think, Batista, he probably could get a better opponent there. Kurt Angle probably could get a better opponent. And then, yeah, every match has a Hall of Famer. Probably the, Eugene and Orlando Jordan are like the least notable names. But every match has Hall of Famers in it. So yeah, I'm going to try to rebook it. And let me know what you guys think. Let's get into the card right now. All right, the first match I have is from SmackDown. We got the WWE Tag Team Championship match. We have Animal and Heidenreich versus JBL and Orlando Jordan. So coming off WrestleMania, I have the Dudley Boys as the champs. They would drop it to Eminem at Judgment Day, and then Eminem would drop it to Animal and Heidenreich at Great American Bash. They did actually have a match at the Great American Bash, but I believe it was a non-title match. But yeah, that was a cool moment to see Animal return, reform the Legion of Doom with Heidenreich. So yeah. And obviously, they kind of fizzled out after this, so I think getting them on the show here would be cool. And I would have them fight JBL and Orlando Jordan, so JBL would have lost the U.S. Championship in my booking at WrestleMania 21. And yeah, him and OJ, their relationship's a little rocky because JBL has been pissed that he doesn't have a championship. So he says, OJ, let's go take the tag belts. And yeah, JBL could cut great promos on Animal, saying he's a nostalgia run and that Hawk would be ashamed of him for teaming up with Heidenreich, and that Hawk carried the team, and that Heidenreich, he's a crazy guy. And then Heidenreich could even talk about how, he's always been a fan of the Legion of Doom, and it's an honor for him to team with Animal, and that he's gonna make sure they don't lose to JBL and OJ. So yeah, you can definitely have some good promos here, and I would actually have JBL accidentally clothesline from Hell Orlando Jordan, and Legion of Doom would retain the belts here, and I would actually turn OJ face afterwards, and him and JBL could have a feud in No Mercy. So yeah, I feel like this does a lot of things. It gives Animal and Heidenreich a big title defense, because I felt bad that, aside from the world titles and the U.S. title, there wasn't a lot of other titles being defended. So I feel like having another tag team match, especially with Animal and Heidenreich, their momentum was really high as well. So I would have them retain, and I think, yeah, it'd be a nice, solid match. All right, the next match I have is a Raw match for the Intercontinental Championship. I would have Shelton Benjamin versus Carlito. So, yeah, Shelton Benjamin was Intercontinental Champion, headed out of WrestleMania. I would have him defend it against Chris Jericho. And yeah, I know everyone knows that Carlito got drafted to Raw and won the belt right away, but I would have saved that match. I would have had Shawn versus Shelton at Vengeance, the rematch from the Gold Rush tournament. It could be a non-title match as well, because Shawn says he doesn't want to win that belt. He's won it before. It's about giving Shelton a chance. And yeah, I would actually have Shelton pull out the surprise win. So that can also direct to Shawn's heel turn as well. So we can keep that in mind for the future. But yeah, Carlito, he says he wants the IC championship because that'd be cool on Carlito's cabana. Shelton's like, you know what? If you want it, why don't you challenge me? And Carlito's like, not tonight at SummerSlam. And then he could try to attack Shelton, but Shelton can reverse him, and then Shelton can destroy the cabana. So yeah, and then maybe the next week Shelton can have a match, and then after the match Carlito can attack him and then spit the apple in his face, and he could cut some promos. He could say, Shelton, you're a great athlete, you're a great collegiate wrestler, but let's be honest, you don't have charisma, you ain't cool. So yeah, and then Shelton can talk about how he doesn't need to be cool because he knows that he's the best. So you can have some fun promos back and forth there. And yeah, I think it'd be a solid match. They had a pretty decent match at Vengeance. And I would have actually Carlito defeat Shelton Benjamin. Maybe he could hold on to the ropes after a roll-up to get the win. So yeah, Carlito is the new IC champ. And again, it was pretty sad that the IC championship wasn't on the SummerSlam card. So I think it's definitely a plus to have it on the card. All right, next up is the United States Championship match. I have Booker T defending against Randy Orton. So yeah, Booker T, he was a champion coming out of WrestleMania 21. Randy gets drafted to SmackDown. And yeah, the build here could be very simple. Randy could start talking to Sharmell, start trying to flirt with Sharmell, and Booker T's not having it. And yeah, we could even have Booker T confront Randy. Randy's like, my bad. I know you're a married man. So, but then he can give Booker an RKO after a match. And then he can try to plant a kiss on Sharmell. Sharmell could slap him, and then Randy would reverse it into an RKO. And Randy's like, I don't care about Sharmell. I just want gold. I want the United States Championship. I want a belt I never won before. And yeah, I think that would be a really good feud. And Booker T could talk about, he's going to teach this punk Randy Orton some respect. He's been in this business for many years, and that, he's a legend. And Randy could be like, you know what? You say you're a legend? Guess what? I'm the legend killer. You claim you're a 5-time WCW champion, but what have you done lately? When was the last time you won a world title? At SummerSlam last year, I defeated Chris Benoit. So yeah, can definitely be some good promos back and forth here. And yeah, I would actually give Randy the win. I feel like he was a little losing momentum a little bit on SmackDown. So I think him having a nice U.S. title run would be cool. And yeah, Sharmell could accidentally distract Booker T, and Booker T can get caught with the RKO 1, 2, 3. Randy's the new U.S. champion. And yeah, I think it would be a really nice, solid match. All right, next up, we got a match that actually happened. We got Matt Hardy versus Edge. The only difference I would have is I would have the street fight that they had on Raw where Matt Hardy side effect Edge off the stage. I would have that match here. I felt like it was a little anticlimactic for Matt to lose by TKO just because he hit his head off the steel post. I mean, Matt was like, he had so much momentum at the time, so I felt like that definitely did hurt the momentum. And I understand you don't want to have Edge lose right away because you want to build that up. But I think them having that street fight they had on Raw would have been perfect, and it could end in a no contest because yeah, this will just really get everyone amped up for the feud. Matt Hardy doesn't lose momentum, but we also don't have Edge lose right away. So obviously the fans can still be eager for that. And yeah, it just made sense, like the build going into the match. Matt Hardy, he would jump Edge when he wasn't technically hired in kayfabe, and then obviously Vince brings him back. Matt has that promo where he says he hopes Edge dies in a car accident. I probably wouldn't have that one, but yeah, I understand they're trying to show the realism of the feud, and yeah, it was a very personal feud. So just to have like a simple wrestling match was kind of weird. I would definitely have like a street fight match here, and yeah, I think it'd be really good. That side effect off the stage was awesome on Raw. So you could have the same thing happen here, and then you can go forward with the feud. But yeah, definitely you got to keep this match on the card, and yeah, just change up the match type and the result, and I think it'll definitely be better. All right, next up I have Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, but no custody of Dominik. I know it's very iconic now just because how Dominik is doing right now in the WWE. He's really killing it, and he really does have a resemblance of Eddie Guerrero. But just at the time, I just thought the storyline was weird. Like, why would a social worker grant the custody? I know it's wrestling and all that, but like, come on, we gotta have a little bit of realism here. So yeah, I would not have the custody of Dominik, and I would actually have their steel cage match, which they had on SmackDown. I don't know if you guys remember. Um, Eddie wanted to become number one contender, I believe, but yeah, I would have that match here, and I would actually have Eddie go over. So yeah, how the feud would be after WrestleMania, I would have Eddie versus Rey Mysterio in like a friendly face match because obviously, basically their match at WrestleMania 21 in real life, I would actually have that at Judgment Day because I had both of them doing something different at WrestleMania 21. Yeah, and then Rey will get the surprise win. Eddie's a little, he can't believe it, but he shakes his hand, and then going into the Great American Bash. They could feud with Eminem, and then they have the tag team match, and we do the same thing where Eddie is he's unresponsive, he doesn't tag in, and then yeah, and then the next week, I believe it's Ray. No, Ray was getting beat up by Eminem and Chavo. Eddie would make the save, but then he would beat the hell out of Rey Mysterio, give him a brainbuster suplex, I think, on the steel chair, rip his mask off. So yeah, that would be the feud in the Great American Bash. And the Great American Bash, Ray would get the surprise win just like he did. I believe Eddie had like a cocky pin, and then Ray turned it into like a crucifix roll up. So yeah, that was that. So and then now the build going to SummerSlam is Eddie wants one more shot at Ray, and Ray says no. And this is when Eddie starts to get personal. Ray could bring his sons at the show, and then Eddie can confront Dominik and say, your dad's a coward, and all these things in front of his family, his wife and his daughter. And then Ray snaps and beats the hell out of Eddie. And yeah, Ray accepts the match, but he says it's going to be a steel cage match, so you can't run. And yeah, I think, again, the feud speaks for itself. This would be a great match. And yeah, Eddie Guerrero would get the clean win here because he was on to bigger and better things for the world title versus Batista. And I always felt like it kind of sucked. Eddie didn't get like a pay-per-view win over Ray, so this would have been the right time to do it. All right, next up we got the Nature Boy Ric Flair versus Kurt Angle. So yeah, Kurt Angle gets drafted to Raw, and if you guys remember that iconic woo-off they had, which was hilarious because Kurt Kurt's voice is really deep, so he was like, woo, and then woo, like, Ric Flair. So, yeah, I think, again, the build would be very simple. After Vengeance, there's no Triple H, and Kurt Angle could come out and say, look, your boy, Hunter, he's done. He lost to Batista. He's not even here tonight. Why don't you manage? You're so-called the greatest wrestler in your era. I am the greatest wrestler today. Why don't you manage me? And then Ric Flair is like, you know what? I'll think about it. And then, yeah, Kurt can just keep egging Ric Flair on, and Ric Flair can finally say, Kurt, you know what? You are a great wrestler, and I've been managing Evolution, Triple H for 3 years, and I will have to politely decline because I want to know if I still got it. And then Kurt's like, okay. And then he beats the crap out of Ric Flair, puts him in an ankle lock, and yeah, Ric Flair could be out for like 2-3 weeks. Kurt's just mocking him. He's wearing the robe, he's doing the struts, and instead of the ankle lock, he's winning matches with the figure four. And then yeah, Kurt could be cutting a promo, and then Flair could come out of nowhere, start beating the hell out of Kurt Angle security, and he's like, Angle, I want you at SummerSlam. And yeah, Kurt can afterwards say he accepts because he's tired of people saying Ric Flair is the greatest of all time when he's the greatest. He's never even won an Olympic gold medal, So yeah, simple build here, and I think it'd be really good match. This was a cool dream match that we actually never got on pay-per-view as well. I know they fought on Raw, but yeah, this should have been on pay-per-view. And yeah, Kurt will just get the clean win here. Obviously, he's going on to bigger and better things in the in September, so he gets the win. But Ric Flair looks strong in defeat, and yeah, this would be much better than the Eugene match. And also, it's a shame Ric Flair was not on the card. He's just, again, without Triple H, he's his own man. He's super over, so he should have been on the card as well. All right, next matchup, we got The Undertaker versus Chris Benoit. So this would have been a rematch from my WrestleMania 21 booking. And the feud is very simple. Chris Benoit gets drafted to SmackDown. And then, yeah, after Great American Bash, he cuts a promo and says, you know what, I'm happy to be on SmackDown again. And, but the one thing he wants is a rematch with The Undertaker. He says he knows that he could beat him, and he lost at WrestleMania, but he wants another shot. And then The Undertaker could come out and accept. So yeah, and then they could just, again, have a couple of face-offs. Undertaker can do the cutthroat to Chris Benoit, the taunt, and then Chris Benoit could do the taunt back. So yeah, just again, some great psychological warfare here, and they could be even forced to team up in tag team matches, and they don't get along, and then Undertaker could hit him with the choke slam, but Benoit reverses into crossface. So yeah, just building some anticipation there, and Chris Benoit says, Undertaker, I'm not about psychological warfare. I am the best technical wrestler in the WWE, and I'm going to prove it. And The Undertaker says he has a lot of respect for Chris Benoit, but, this is SmackDown. This is his show, and he's going to beat Chris Benoit just like WrestleMania. So yeah, nice face versus face build here, obviously. And I would actually have Benoit get the win. He can, again, reverse the tombstone into a flash roll up and gets the clean win here, and that they can set up a rubber match down the line. But yeah, this would be a really good match for sure. All right, next up we got for the WWE Championship, we got John Cena defending against Chris Jericho. So yeah, this match stays the same, and we have John Cena get drafted to Raw. Chris Jericho can't believe it. And yeah, the only thing I would not have is a triple threat at Vengeance. I would actually have Cena versus Christian, and Cena would obviously retain against Christian there, and Jericho would win a number one contenders match on Vengeance, and then after Cena defeats Christian. Jericho could come out, pretend to shake his hand, and then give him the same low blow that he gave Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19. And yeah, that starts from there. And obviously, Jericho starts to align himself with Bischoff, saying, Cena's not good for Raw. He's a street thug, and he promotes rap music. I promote great music like Fozzy. So they do the rock versus rap performances on Raw. And yeah, Cena after Jericho's band performance, Cena can attack Jericho with all the music instruments. I think that'd be really cool. And yeah, Jericho could say that, it's been 3 years since he was the world champion, and that, this is Raw as Jericho. This ain't SmackDown Cena. This is my show. And yeah, John Cena could do a couple of freestyle disses to Chris Jericho as well. And obviously Bischoff, he's aligned with Jericho, so that he could get a couple of heels like Tomko and Snitsky to try to beat down Cena, but Cena overcomes the odds. So yeah, again, yeah, so the feud would generally be the same, and the match, keep everything the same. Chris Jericho's on the way out, so he didn't need to win, and obviously they're building John Cena as the new face of Raw. So yeah, Cena retains, and it was a really good match. All right, next match for the World Heavyweight Championship, we got Dave Batista versus Captain Charisma Christian. Yes, I got Christian. So yeah, I would actually have Batista defeat Muhammad Hassan at Great American Bash. So obviously Muhammad Hassan, he got released shortly after this. So that was what it was. I think they really wanted that feud to be at SummerSlam, especially because it's in Washington, D.C., but obviously the circumstances for Hassan were tough. He got released. So yeah, let's use Christian. Christian, again, I would have him lose to John Cena, get drafted to SmackDown, and he's pissed because he wants another shot at Cena. And then Batista could come out and say, you know what? Forget about John Cena. If you want the real champion, come after me. So yeah, Christian could remember that, and Christian could win like a number one contenders tournament here, and he can finally say like SmackDown is gonna be his show. This is the show of the peeps, Captain Charisma, and he can have Batista on the Peep Show, and he can talk smack up to Batista, saying, you're all muscle, you're no brain, and Batista's just smirking, and yeah, I would have Batista try to powerbomb Christian, but Christian gets out the way and runs away. So, and yeah, and obviously Christian can say that, they're going to be in Washington, D.C. That's the home of America. But he's like, thank God I'm Canadian, and he's going to defeat Batista in his hometown. And yeah, he can actually attack Batista with a Canadian flag. And then Batista the next week can, break the flag, and as Christian runs away. So yeah, I think this would be, again, a good feud. Christian deserved to be on the card. He was super over at this time. And yeah, Batista gets a nice feel-good victory in his hometown. All right, the main event of the evening, the legend Hulk Hogan versus the icon Shawn Michaels. And yeah, keep everything the same here from the start of the feud, where Shawn sweet chin music's Hulk Hogan after a tag team match. That was just so shocking, because they were really milking the celebration, and then wham, sweet chin music. Like, out of all people, no one really thought Shawn Michaels would turn heel again. And yeah, it was a great, 3 to 4 week heel run. He, cut some very hurtful promos on Hogan. I mean, he says, you can't touch me in the ring. You can't touch me back there. There's nothing about your life that I want. Just all these, like, very, hurtful promos, but honestly, they're pretty much true. And obviously, we have the Larry King thing where he mocks Hogan hurting his back, my back, and then the iconic Bret Hart fake out where he's talking smack. Bret's music plays, and then he starts laughing, and then Hogan's music plays, and then he starts laughing as well. So yeah, I think the build here, Shawn definitely carried it, and honestly, at the time, this was like a match like you never really thought about happening, but once it happened, you're like, oh shoot, this is a big money SummerSlam match. And yeah, this is what I feel like SummerSlam is about. It's like these big dream matches, but they weren't like seen as one. But they become like a. It's like a great movie, but it's like nah. This is a summer blockbuster. It's not like the Oscar award movies and like which is WrestleMania. No, this is like a blockbuster summer movie, and yeah, the match was hilarious with Shawn Michaels just overselling like a mofo, and but it was still a really good match. I mean, it got very bloody, it got very personal. I just wish, yeah, Shawn didn't do a lot of overselling, and also the ending when Shawn Hogan gives Shawn the boot, and Shawn goes to the floor. He gets up again. He does a couple spins and falls again, and then Hogan's like taunting for like 3-4 minutes before hitting the leg drop. I just felt like if they just fixed the ending a little bit, it would have been a much better match. But it was still a really good, solid match. And then after the match, they shake hands. So yeah, I would keep everything the same, but ideally, Shawn is being less of a dick. So, but yeah, maybe I can't prevent that from happening. But yeah, it was still a really good match, and yeah, definitely a worthy SummerSlam main event. All right, guys. So yeah, that's my card. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, overall, I feel like again I improved the card. I kept the matches that were really good. So Shawn and Hogan gotta keep. Ideally, there's less Shawn shenanigans. Cena and Jericho, really good match, and also I like the fact that I don't have Jericho involved at Vengeance, so it feels like a really fresh match. Batista and Christian, I think, would have been better than Batista JBL. Christian was super over in the summer, and yeah, it's unfortunate he was not on the card. And I think it makes sense because they're in Washington D.C., so you got the Canada versus USA going on there, and then I have Benoit and Undertaker rematch from WrestleMania, which I think would be better than Taker and Orton. Kurt Angle fights Ric Flair instead of Eugene. That's definitely an improvement there. And yeah, I got rid of the Dominik stuff, and I know the ladder match was really fun, but Ray and Eddie in the steel cage, I think, would feel more personal there. And the storyline doesn't get ridiculous. And then yeah, U.S. title match. I got Booker and Randy. That's better. We don't have Orlando Jordan on the card. Matt versus Edge instead of the disappointing finish. They have like a memorable finish with the side effect off the stage. And then, yeah, I have Shelton on the card. I want to get more belts on. So we got the IC title. Him and Carlito. Solid match at Vengeance. They can have it here. And then, yeah, just keeping the momentum of Animal and Heidenreich. And obviously, JBL, he deserved to be on the card as well. And it also starts the JBL OJ dissension as well. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. Did I make any improvements? Like, comment, subscribe. And I'm going to run down the card for you guys right now. So we got for the WWE Tag Team Championships, we have the champions Animal and Heidenreich defending against John Bradshaw Layfield and Orlando Jordan. For the Intercontinental Championship, we have the champion Shelton Benjamin defending against Carlito. For the United States Championship, we have the champion Booker T defending against the legend killer Randy Orton. In a street fight, we have Matt Hardy versus Edge. In a steel cage match, we have Rey Mysterio versus Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero. Then we have the Nature Boy Ric Flair versus the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. The Phenom, The Undertaker versus the Rabid Wolverine Chris Benoit. For the WWE Championship, the champ John Cena defending against Y2J Chris Jericho. For the World Heavyweight Championship, the Animal Batista defending against Captain Charisma Christian. And in the main event, Legend versus Icon, the Immortal Hulk Hogan versus the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. So yeah, guys, that's my card. Let me know what you guys think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.